Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to each and every one of you here today to worship with First Baptist Church on 5th. My name is Emily Hull McGee. I am one of our pastors, and I'm delighted to welcome you today to a very special time of worship. We don't normally wear jeans and t-shirts in church and have all our youth and children up here with us, but you picked a meaningful Sunday to be present today. We're glad that you're here. If you're someone who is visiting with us, we do say a special welcome to you. We would encourage you to find the connection cards, which are located right there in the back of the pew in front of you. Fill that out, drop it in the offering plate, or hand it to one of our ministers as you leave today. That simply allows us to welcome you with intention and care. We know that a number of you are worshiping with us online, and so that welcome extends to you today, wherever you may be, at home or on the road, scattered around the country. Welcome. If you are not local or not able to join us in person, we would invite you to go to our website, firstonfifth.org, where there you can find an online connection card. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and learn a bit more about who we are. If you are local and are just checking us out and are able to come join us, we do invite you to come anytime you can right here on 5th Street. We're glad you're with us. As I noted, today is a special Sunday in the life of our church. It has been our rhythm for a number of years now, on the last Sunday of July, to have our children and youth who have been at Passport Camp offer leadership in worship. And so everything we'll share together today has been planned for, led by these wonderful folks right here with me. The theme for Passport this year, as you see on the cover of your worship guide, is Vamos. Let's go. And I wonder if you would join me in reading the verse, which is written right there beside it. This was the theme verse for the week. Would you join me in reading that? So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us. Our campers learned about what it means to be people of action, that when God says it's time to vamos, it's time to go, how to be ready to do just that. One of the striking parts of worship at Passport Youth Camp this year was the camp pastor, who is from Nigeria, had a wonderful accent. And he would begin worship every day by saying,
"Good morning, Passport!"
And so in that spirit, we say to you,
"Good morning, First on 5th!"
And with that, we turn ourselves now into worship.
This summer at camp, we learned about running the race God has called us to. This morning in worship, our youth and kids will share some of what we learned through songs, scriptures, and stories. Please join me in the call to worship. Jesus calls us to vamos. Let's go. Let's run to make a world full of love, hope, and light in Jesus' name. Jesus invites us here. We belong here. We will encounter Jesus here. May the lighting of this candle remind us of Christ's presence with us as we worship.
By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Jordan, as a first-time camper at Youth Passport, how was it being at youth camp, and what connection did you make with the youth group?
Youth camp is very different from the kids camp. There's more freedom to do as you wish with limits. There is you get more experiences and more chances to grow with God, and you also it's a new thing to ease into coming from kids camp. So it was very scary at first because I didn't know what to expect. And then as the week went on, I got more used to it, and I kind of was a little more relaxed in what I was doing. And the connections I made with my youth group were I deepened some bonds I already had, and then I made some new bonds, and I met new people from my choice group and my Bible study, and it was just a lot of fun.
Okay, and thinking through your week at camp with your worship, choices, Bible study, free time, How did you see God throughout the week?
I definitely saw God in my choice group. We were all so supportive of each other, and we just picked each other up when we fell down. And I think that really shows God's love by just all of us coming together and being supportive. As a chaperone on the trip, how did you notice God at work in our youth group? How did you experience God at camp as an adult?
I'm thankful that I got to experience Passport as an adult chaperone. It took me back to my own church camp experience as a high schooler. I was able to disconnect from my outside world and the normal busyness of every day, and just really able to focus on God and what He's telling me and speaking through my life. Our youth group is a very unique group of individuals. We have some very artsy people, some very not so artsy people, but very athletic. We also have a mix of both. And so I noticed that they've all found like their similarities with each other. We had some that realized they went to school together, and then they have a shared love of music or a shared favorite kids' TV show. They can quote it, I am sure. Um, but even with their differences, they encouraged and supported each other throughout the week, whether it be the silly games on stage or the different activities in the evenings. These kids really supported their peers, so that was really awesome to see. And I also was able to watch their relationships grow and deepen throughout the week, a lot more than we would normally see on a regular Sunday. I also saw God through my missions choice. There are two mission choices, but when you sign up for missions, you don't know what you're signing up for. You just kind of get put in groups. But God has a way of putting the right kids and the right adults in the right spaces. My missions group, the Greens Missions, which I was the only one from our group to be able to go, we went and visited with the assisted living facility, and we got to sit with their residents and sing songs with them and different things like that. So it was really cool to like watch the kids be able to like sing karaoke, but then do Passport songs, which are sometimes silly, but also, spreading God's love. It was awesome to see the youth be able to like use their talents and abilities to connect with the residents. So I enjoyed it. You should go, but don't take my spot. I really like it.
Vamos, vamos, let's go together, vamos, to a place we are known by God's love and our own. Vamos, vamos, let's go. Let's go, vamos. Let's run God's race with love and action. Come on, let's go, vamos.
Get your outside work done. Make preparations in the field. Then you can build your house. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
I saw God a whole lot at Passport this year. I saw God in my Bible study group and how we were all connected together. My leader was a guy named Zeb, and he was great. He put our lessons in the Bible in a teenage context, not dumbing it down, but making it understandable for us. He also used real-world scenarios about what we do to connect it to the Bible and what Jesus taught us. Our Bible study group got along with each other really well. We clicked. It wasn't super awkward, even though we were diverse in what we believe. Some of us came from a country background and others from a city, which might affect how we believe. During our choices, we learned how God can show up in different ways. I was in the choice called Game Face, and we talked about how Jesus' ways tied to our sports. We played together and learned about teamwork. I also saw God during morning devotion and church group devotions, and I heard God in worship. My time during morning devotion gave me room to actually think about the theme. During church group devotions every night, I liked hearing about other people in our youth group experience God throughout the day. I tried to put myself in their shoes so I could understand them better. I heard God in worship through the meditations we did and songs we sang, and the camp pastor was great. I experienced community with with our youth group this year at camp. We all care about each other, and no matter what, our chaperones brought us together and were really fun. One thing we do each year at Passport is offer declarations each day. On day 2, I declared that I wanted to use spiritual practices to strengthen my faith by praying every night and reading the gospel so I understand what Jesus did. Some of the spiritual practices we learned were worship, service in the community, confession, examine, meditations, things like that. I really felt connected to spiritual practices because as a basketball player, I know how important practice is. Good preparation is necessary for the game. You gotta make sure your body is healthy by stretching, icing down any body part that's hurting, warming up with your teammates, and working out. In the same way, spiritual practices help you with things to do every day, every other day, or every week that help you grow closer to God. The verse of the day 2 is from Proverbs 24:27. Get your outside work done, make preparations in the field, then you can build your house. We also learn the story from Jesus about the builders who built on sand and the builders who built on rock, and how the house on the sand washed away because it didn't have a firm foundation. I think about how spiritual practices can help your faith flourish by being a kind of sturdy foundation. Again, like basketball, putting practice into the game is like putting our spiritual practices into our lives. In basketball, practice creates muscle memory so that in a game, when you're stressed, you don't have to think about what to do. The muscle memory just takes over. Same with spiritual practices. When you do them over and over again, they become a habit. So when you're scared or sad or whatever, you don't have to panic. You just remember those spiritual practices and let the muscle memory take over. I really have found God at Passport this year, and I thank the Passport staff, our youth group, our chaperones, Pastor Kyle, and all of you for this great opportunity.
When I was at Passport, I saw how people became the hands and feet of God by doing God's work. Through helping people at the Salvation Army organize and help take care of the little kids at their summer camps, I tried to make a decision to follow God not just through my words, but also through my acts. Passport also challenged me with trying to be more forgiving and love more people. Passport was definitely helpful when I was trying to get closer to God because it showed me that you can't love God just through your words, but also your actions. I followed in my actions by doing missions. In missions, we helped out the first 2 days by cleaning the walls and cleaning the bathrooms in the Salvation Army. The following days, we went to their summer camp and played with little kids there. This represented what the camp was trying to teach us by getting closer to your community and those around you.
Vamos, vamos, let's go together, vamos. There is work to be done, a foundation of love. Vamos, vamos, let's go. Let's go, vamos. Let's run God's race with love and action. Come on, let's go, vamos.
Isaiah 1:17. Learn to do good, seek justice, help the oppressed, defend the orphan, and plead for the widow. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
When we first arrived, we got to choose which choice groups we wanted to be a part of for the week. I chose Color Palette as my first choice. In Color Palette, we painted our depiction of God throughout the week. We were sorted into groups and given a canvas and a day of the week. Since the theme was Vamos, each day was broken into titles for the beginning of a race. They were On Your Mark, Get Set, Go, and Finish Line. Our group chose day 3, Go. The verse of the day was Learn to do good, seek justice, help the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow, Isaiah 1:17. We chose to paint an angel holding a glowing traffic light. The traffic light was on green and guiding people to a brown cross, showing us to follow and walk with God wherever He goes. During this passport, we talked about God's journey making the earth and Sabbath. We read a verse of the day and drew pictures to represent what He created that day. We made collages of the land and sea. We drew unique animals in chalk. And on the first day of Sabbath, we painted and had quiet time to reflect and think about the connections we had made. I chose Color Palette because I love art and being creative. I like to create with materials that others would consider trash. I love to see how I can challenge myself to create out of unusual or unique items. An example of that is that I've helped paint walking canes for friends at this church. When I create art for others, I hope that it brings them joy and builds a stronger connection with me. I think this is how God felt when He created our earth. I am thankful for this journey and the people who came with me on it.
There are a lot of things I love about Passport. I love the night market, especially learning stuff about other countries. This year at the night market, I tried new foods from Mexico and new drinks like black coffee, which was gross and I hated it. I don't know how my parents drink that every day. This year, I got to learn how to play a tag game, which was really fun. I also got stung by a bee that night, too. I love the variety show. Every year, people can show their different talents that the rest of us didn't even know anything about. The themes are really fun as well. This year, in the variety show, we did a dance to the song Testify to Love, and I thought that was really fun. Another thing I love about camp is the morning celebration every day. In morning celebration, we get to do energizers to wake up and hit beach balls around the room and sing songs and play games, stuff like that. This year, I played the puzzle game on the stage where we built the Passport logo out of big puzzle pieces. My team won the whole game. The pool is really fun each year, and the free time gives us time to hang out in the room or go to the pool or go shopping in the gift shop. Our group got along really well and were all fun to hang out with. Wally and Linda made our experience really fun, and Pastor Amy led us in a really fun way every year. I was sad that this was my last year at Passport Kids. I will miss the staff, the campers, the group, the chaperones, and Montreat, but I'm excited to meet new people and learn a new campus with Passport Youth next year. Our morning devotion on day 3 asked us to think about a time when someone in our life needed help. I thought about when my friend told me this year that her parents were getting a divorce. I helped out as a friend by showing kindness to her and listening to her when she needed someone to be there for her. Also, my teacher last year, Miss Meeks, had to leave the school year early to have surgery and told our class to be good listeners to the substitute teacher. I tried to respect the teacher even if other people didn't, and wanted to do my part to help her have a good few weeks with our class. I try to be kind and respectful to everyone, which feels really small sometimes. Our verse of the day 3 is from Isaiah 1:17 and says, "Learn to do good, seek justice, help the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow." I think seek justice means listening to how God is calling us to help others. Help the oppressed means helping people in need, like those that don't have a house or those who are scared. Our friends, like LGBTQ friends, who might need the reminder that they are safe and loved. I think about this at Pride every year because showing up means showing love. Learning to do good means learning how to walk in the steps of God, being respectful, helpful, a good friend, praying, being kind to my family, and learning the ways of God while I'm growing up. Our church helps me to learn about God, seeking justice, helping the oppressed, learning to do good, especially from my Sunday school teachers and pastors and all of you in the congregation together.
Vamos, vamos. Let's go together, vamos. Stand up for the least, seeking justice and peace. Vamos, vamos, let's go. Let's go, vamos. Let's run God's race with love and action. Come on, let's go, vamos.
Many people were coming and going, so there was no time to eat. He said to the apostles, "Come by yourself to a secluded place to rest for a while." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
You can all be proud of the 3rd and 5th graders who went to Passport Kids. Such good kids. And I learned something new from Amy that I'm going to use with my grandsons on Mimi Camp next year. I had Mimi Camp 5 days with my 5 out of 6 grandsons right after Passport Kids, and these kids were so much better. So before the trip, Amy put out one of those extra large drawing papers. I'm not sure what you call them, the kind that stick on the wall. And the kids all sat down together and created their own covenant of behavior. Things like we're not going to go in each other's rooms and take their things, or we're going to listen, or we're going to walk in a straight line when we need to. Things like it was crazy, but it was the kids themselves who detailed this, and they were animated and thorough. It was a long list, and they stuck by it. Each night, there was a devotional after the evening's event. We all sat on the floor at the end of the hallway and discussed the day. What happened? How did they feel? And we discussed the Bible story. During Wally's devotional time, he gave 4 little figurines of Jesus to each kid. Can you see this little thing? They love these things. And challenged them to give them away to anyone they saw doing good for someone else. It took courage to do this. It was awkward and uncomfortable, but they were encouraged to be brave. The theme of Passport, as you can tell, is vamos, let's go. But how do we discern where to go, what to do, what is required of us? Esther, who was my topic for my night of devotion, Esther and her bravery for such a time as this was the Bible story. And I think looking at Esther gives us some clues. Many of you will remember the story of Esther, but maybe not. It's an entire book in the Old Testament that is not preached often, but celebrated yearly in March as Purim by the Jewish people. And the book of Esther cannot be proven to be historically factual, but it does, however, portray the true history of that time. It was the same century when Socrates was born in 470 BC. Confucius was born in the East. It was the golden age of Greece under Pericles, and this was when Athens was at the height of its cultural and intellectual influence. The Olympic Games existed, and Greece had a political system that became the basis of our democracy. And we know a lot about this time from the Greek historian Herodotus, who wrote History of the Persian Wars 25 years after the reign of Xerxes. And it was during this time when Cyrus, the king of Persia, allowed the Jewish people to return to Judah and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. And in fact, Cyrus let a lot of the people from other countries return to their homeland. And historians write that while many Jews did go home to Judah, many stayed back in their comfortable lives in Persia, like Esther. So Esther's story is set in Susa, modern Iran, in the court of Ahasuerus, whose Greek name is Xerxes. While God is never mentioned in the whole book, it is a story about God's covenant with us, a story about bravery, deliverance, and being used by God for God's purposes. Let me tell you this story about Esther, or refresh your memory. Esther was raised by her uncle Mordecai after her parents died. Now, Xerxes ruled over 127 provinces, had a wife, Queen Vashti, and a right hand man, Haman, who helped him rule. And when Queen Vashti refused an order to appear before the king, Xerxes was angry and put out a decree to find the most beautiful woman in each of his provinces. And Esther was chosen from her province, but kept secret that she was Jewish. Esther pleased the king, and she became his favorite. You can read into that. Now Haman made a decree for all the people to bow down to him, and Mordecai, the uncle, who hung around the walls of the city, keeping an eye on his niece Esther, would not bow. And through some other events, it became known that Mordecai was Jewish. So Haman convinced the king to kill all the Jewish people in all the provinces as revenge, as punishment. But Mordecai had previously saved the king from being killed, and the king stepped in and saved Mordecai from this fate. But the decree still held. Mordecai said to Esther, "It's up to you to save your people. By God's providence, you have been placed there for such a time as this." Now, Esther did not want to do this. If you went before the king without being summoned, you could be killed. But Esther and the Jewish people in the kingdom fasted for 3 days, and she went before the king. And the king welcomed her, holding out the gold scepter. And Esther said she wanted to prepare a big banquet for him. Always good to set the stage ahead of time, create good conditions for the future. And the king was so pleased, he granted her petition. Everyone was saved except Haman. So Esther shows us a willingness to step out. If we're to vamos, let's go, there's a few things to consider. What providence, the protective care of God, places us in situations we find ourselves in? You know, Colleen Burrows, who was with her husband David, created Passport 37 years ago. And she asked me, "What are you doing here?" And I replied, "Well, Amy asked me." And I thought it would be fun to be with Amy and the kids and Wally. And it was. And after all, I mean, I was a missions pastor and missions coordinator for many years, so this felt comfortable. Perhaps you're on the ball field with your kids playing, or at work, or having fun with friends. Perhaps your suffering in the past enables you to tune into someone else's suffering. God's providence places you for such a time as this, and it could be anywhere. Number 2, both Mordecai and Esther played a part in the deliverance of the Jews. And many times we can help each other. We can team up, do it together, making a difference in someone's life. 3, if we set our minds on God each day, asking for an opportunity, God will use us every time. Praying, "Lead me today, Lord." We all have busy days, chaotic times. Are we rushing through? Are we mindful of God's nudges? Can we hear that inner whisper that encourages us to act? And what about bravery? Esther could have been killed entering into the king's inner court without being summoned. Our passport campers, they were brave, handing out someone a little Jesus and telling them, I saw you stop and hold the door for everyone, and I saw you help another kid in Bible study. It was uncomfortable and scary to do, but they were so brave. Sometimes we just need to say a quick prayer and just do it. Often we don't know how it will play out. We don't know what God is up to, the significance of it all. But if we go, the joy of being used by God makes a difference in their lives and in ours. In everything under the sun, we are assured in Matthew 28:20, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. For sure, God is with you always.
At Passport, our children were able to experience and be part of worship every single day of camp. Part of that worship service, they were asked to participate in what we called a prayer experience. Every day was different, but it was a challenge to them that in a world that is busy and loud and chaotic, let's take a moment to be quiet. So we would like to lead you in a prayer experience, exactly as they would have participated at Passport in this prayer experience. As Faye read for us earlier, in Mark 6:31, Jesus says, "Come by yourselves to a secluded place and rest for a while." Sometimes it can be hard to step away from everything that demands our time and keeps us busy. But we can always take a few moments and connect with God. This verse reminds us that we can be still and find rest in God. So this morning, we will practice what we call breath prayers. You can do these prayers when you have time to be still and quiet. You can also do them with your eyes open wherever you find yourself throughout the week. You can do them in the middle of a crowded room. You can do them when you're at a sporting event, in traffic, in the middle of a test or a class, when you're teaching. Whatever one you choose, you can do them anywhere. So as we pray together today, our prayer will be two phrases. In just a moment, as we breathe in together, we will say silently in our minds, "Help us be still." And when we breathe out in your minds, you will say, "Give us your rest." So again, as you breathe in, "Help us be still." And as you breathe out, "Give us your rest." At this time, I invite you to put yourself in a comfortable position, preferably with your feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to invite you to do what they did at camp, but also what we do every Sunday with our kids. Put your hands open and on your knees. This is a reminder that we are open to what God would have us learn in this moment. This is also a wonderful position that wherever you find yourself, even if you can't sit for very long, you can turn your hands over and be reminded that you are connecting with God. Now that you find yourself in a comfortable position, we're going to practice our breath prayers together. We will do this 3 different times in the form of a square. What I mean by that is you will keep your eyes on me, and I will guide you in the form of a square of when to breathe in and out. So when my hand does this, that is your breathing in. Then you will hold that breath as I go down. With my other hand, that is your breathing out exercise. And then you will hold like this. We will do the square 3 times. To help you best remember those phrases, Pastor Emily will be verbalizing those for you to help you remember, but we ask you to simply say them in your mind. So find yourself in your comfortable position, and let's breathe in together.
Help us be still. Give us your rest. Help us be still. Give us your rest. Help us be still. Give us your rest.
At this time, I would like for you to take one of those hands and place it on your belly. This is a belly prayer that we're going to do the exact same thing. This is something, though, that will help you be aware of your breathing, and it will help slow your heart rate and your breathing so that you can best connect with who God is. So we will do the same thing, but this time you can actually say it out loud if you want. But if you're more comfortable simply paying attention to your belly and your breathing, Pastor Emily will continue just as she has done as we breathe in that phrase and breathe out that phrase. So we will do that 3 times, and we will follow Pastor Emily with our breathing.
Help us be still. Give us your rest. Help us be still. Give us your rest. Help us be still. Give us your rest.
God, you invited your disciples to find a place alone and to rest there. Help us remember that we also need time to rest and recharge. Give us what we need to be ready for the work you are calling us to do. Amen.